Hi, Jamila. This is Ginger with the Overdrive Show. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm excited to interview this. I interviewed, authors and filmmakers or
Yeah.
musicians, obviously, but this was kind of a cool, out of the box, no pun intended, interview to do. So I was really excited to see it because on TV you see these kits of the month you can get for
Yeah.
like shaving kits. I'm like, who needs to
hmm
shave that much? I don't know. But like that's not exciting. That sounds like a present to me, and
Yeah.
that's not a fun thing. So this is incredible though. So I want to know more about it. So what? I don't want to spoil it everything at once, but so tell me what happened to make you decide to create Loved and Blessed.
Yeah. It's been a really kind of crazy journey, and really just looking back at how honestly God used a really discouraging time in my life to create kind of a desire to encourage others. So I had no plans to start this business, or that was not my, being an entrepreneur wasn't necessarily something I was focused on. I was working full time and all that, and had a great job. And my husband and I, after years of trying to start a family, basically, found ourselves facing infertility. And unfortunately, something wrong with me that makes it extremely close to impossible. Nothing's impossible, but very close to impossible for me to conceive naturally. And so, it was a huge shock, and I was really, disappointed and discouraged, and just really found myself in a place of questioning what, my life was supposed to all be about. Because I was pretty obsessed with becoming a mother um, for pretty
I
much my
share
whole
that
life.
with you. Yeah, that was me too. I wanted to be a mother when I was like 5,
Yeah,
and it just never left.
in that time, it never dawned on me that there might be an issue. And so, when we started, and I didn't start trying until, after we were married. So it was really kind of a shock. And at the same time, I spoke to other women who had amazing stories of how, they were told a similar thing and then they ended up having children. Or, who decided to adopt or foster, or, there were all of these different kind of encouraging stories and then different options. But at the same time, I really felt still kind of alone, even though I had a lot of supportive people, who cared about me and who cared about us, that were trying to encourage us. But it just put me in a place of questioning, like, what am I doing with my life? And, feeling guilty in some ways of, well, what if that means that kind of, our legacy, in a sense, our family line potentially stopped with my husband and I. And it was just a really difficult time. And so, I was pretty depressed, and I decided to kind of start praying and fasting just to figure out what to do. Because, like I said, I was obsessed with becoming a wife, or sorry, becoming a mother. And ultimately, we tried IVF, and which, unfortunately didn't work out. I had a miscarriage, and we had some other complications, but at the end of the day, I realized that I had kind of transferred my obsession of becoming a mother within this obsession of like continuing to try to force it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that season of kind of prayer and fasting, I tell people I have no other way to explain it other than I was praying, and I literally heard boxes of encouragement like that. It was just in spoken into my spirit, and at first I was like, I don't know what that means. And to your point, I was very familiar because of my old career. I was very familiar with all of the boxes of stuff. They've got the great food boxes, and then these cosmetic boxes, and shaving boxes, and all this stuff. And like you said, those are fun. But at the end of the day, I was like, wow, what if somebody did actually send me a care package every month, and something that I could just enjoy in my home by myself, just to encourage me in whatever I was going through. And so I kind of started brainstorming that, and crazy ideas started flowing. And I told my husband about it, and he was like, at first I thought he was going to think I was completely crazy. And he was like, oh, that sounds actually pretty cool. Yeah, so that's where it started. My dad thought I was crazy, though. He's like, I don't understand what a box of encouragement is. but
But he's a guy.
he gets
I
it
mean,
now. Yeah, no, he
yeah,
gets it now
they can't help it. They and I think because we are mothers,
though.
like that's something we're able to do. I think that's one of the reasons we're more emotional creatures, and
Yeah,
because but it's that nurturing, that it's not just, I mean, kids are only, my kids are in their 20s, and let me tell you, there's a blessing on both sides.
yeah,
It's hard, and I've been a single mom for like 14 years, and you
yeah,
know they're thankfully independent and on their own and stuff like that. Not that it doesn't mean they might come right back anytime, but
right.
it's as soon as they got into college and started getting more away from me, that's when I was excited to do what I felt like was on hold for a while, like ministry wise. There were
Yeah,
so many things that I wanted to do. So if I had not had children, I would have just started busting out with probably too many ministries. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I that's what I would have done, because I think if I wasn't babying babies, I would have had to nurture somebody. And I think this is one of the most incredible and most critically needed right now, for women especially.
yeah. Well, and it's interesting that you say that because it's funny. I told a lot of people, I'm like, I think for me, the Lord, it was almost like the opposite, where there's no way I would have started this business if He had allowed me to have children at the time, I was trying, because I was so focused on that like, I mean, I had like my hobbies I stopped doing. Like, I was literally just focused and assumed that we were just going to have kids. And like, I never would have started this if that hadn't happened. And so as hard as that still is, at the same time, it's like I praise the Lord, because at the end of the day, like, He's allowed me to touch so many different people, and there's so many women that I'm so like thankful that He's allowed me to be used in this way, because it's just, yeah, it's amazing to look back and be like, wow, like, yes, I still want to be a mother, and who knows what'll happen in the future, but right now I'm like, there's no way I would have left my job and started focusing on this and doing this if He had allowed me to have children then.
Well, and you think about it, God is a jealous God, and
Yeah,
he wants us obsessed with one thing, and
yeah,
whatever that one thing is, it's following him,
yeah,
and wherever that takes us. And you know uh, the mother thing, that's like third in line of
mm-hmm.
importance. It's God and your spouse, and then your children. I was abused for most of my marriage, and he was in a place of service in the church, and they wouldn't remove him from his place of
Yeah,
service. And in fact, they didn't want to talk about the abuse at all. And I eventually left, because I thought, I'm not going to leave God, but I will quit going to church
right,
if it means that I'm the bad one for
mm-hmm.
removing my children from a situation that could harm them or hurt. I mean, I really thought he was going to kill me a couple of times.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'd rather them have a mother, and I'd rather not die. And,
mm-hmm.
if I have to get shunned by the church, I guess that's what's going to happen. But the whole time, people would say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that." But the reason they couldn't believe it is because I could keep the stoic face when I needed to,
Yeah,
the happy face when I needed to. I mean, you get very good at hiding it. I think the more
yeah,
you suffer, the better you're at hiding it.
yes, yes. It's so true. And I talk a lot to the ladies in our community about just how many of us suffer through things in silence, just the challenges that we face in life, and how we just don't, and it's for different reasons. Some of us, sometimes it's fear or shame, but sometimes it's actually just, church hurt from previous, trying to share something with someone
Or
and then
just
their reaction to
embarrassed.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really sad to me because, I know for me, like, it was interesting, and you probably had this too, where it was like there were so many beautiful women of God who came alongside me, who, when I did share what was going on, and they had the best intentions, but the words of encouragement or the way in which they tried to encourage me in some ways didn't point me back to surrendering to God, my motherhood and my desires. It was more just praying, like in a positive sense of just assuming that it was going to happen. That if I prayed about it, the answer was going to be yes. I actually had a lot of reaction to that in the sense of like, I was not having faith and giving up on having children. And I was like, no, if he blesses us with children, I will be overjoyed. But I think that this is what he's given me for now. And so I'm not going to keep focusing on that. But I was made to feel in some ways like my faith wasn't strong enough versus submitting to God, which is what I felt like I was, doing, really actually just saying, like, Lord, if you don't want us to have children, then please show me what it is that you want me to do with this free time that you've given us,
And that's and the enemy knows that, and can use even the best of intentions against us like that, especially if it's coming from another believer. We kind of start to doubt, like, well, it's coming from a woman that I know is a godly woman, so maybe I should take a minute, and doubt myself. And, tell us about Loved and Blessed, because I'm already wanting a box.
So, yeah, I mean, it was really exciting. Like I said, when I first started it, it wasn't really, with this intention of it necessarily being, it was kind of just a side hobby thing that I wanted to do. But it's grown now. So basically, it's now a community. It's like a membership community and subscription box for Christian women. And really, it's a box of encouragement, and it's all about encouragement. So women subscribe, and then basically they receive a monthly care package. So there's a box, and each box has a different theme. So like last month, our theme was perseverance. So, it's got kind of a devotional in there, and then there's small gifts that are related back to the theme, but the goal of whatever's in the box isn't about, just getting stuff or products. It's really about things that are going to keep you encouraged and like little reminders. Just for me personally, and what I found with a lot of women is that, we get kind of encouragement in small bursts. So we'll read a devotional and, we feel great for 2 hours, and then we hit traffic on our commute to work, and it's like, oh, it's all gone.
That estrogen is not our friend.
I know.
Where our happiness can be on a 10 and then go right down to a 1 and then back up to a 5. We can't. Our emotions are sadly, they can lead us around by the nose if we let them.
Exactly. So the items in the box are really meant as little reminders that you can use. So, like last month, there were some shoelaces in there that had a scripture on them. So, you can put those in your tennis shoes when you're, walking around. It's kind of just a reminder, not even that anyone else would notice it, but when you see it, you're like, okay, it's a reminder that I can persevere through these different things. So that's, the idea of the actual box. And then, because, as it kind of started growing, I realized that, these women want something that extends kind of beyond the box, so that it's not just this one monthly care package, but daily encouragement. And so we've got a private Facebook group, and I just, I prayed about starting that for the longest time because, in some ways, to your, what we were talking about earlier, I was worried about, like, oh my goodness, all of these women from different walks of life, and what if somebody, shares something in there that they need encouragement about, and someone says something and hurts their feelings. I was just really worried, about that. But it has been so amazing. I mean, the women in there are so, like, they're looking for encouragement, but they so much want to encourage each other. And it's just, it's beautiful. And so, there's the group, basically, there's different topics that we talk about in there, and do some videos and discussions, but then, ladies are just posting their prayer requests, and, because it's private, like, no one else can see it other than the people in the group. So women are really transparent in there, and everyone is so just supportive and encouraging and sharing scriptures. And, there's some of the ladies who've been like, hey, message me your phone number, and I'll, there's some ladies in there, widows, that I know that get together and get on the phone with each other and, encourage each other. So it's grown beyond my kind of wildest imagination. And that's why, like I said, I think with each year I feel more and more at peace with, whether the Lord blesses us with children or not. I feel like he did something with the love that I wanted to be able to give to a child.
Yeah.
he lets me kind of pour it into the boxes and to these women.
And so I'm curious because this is something I thought about when I saw the boxes. Can you gift to other women? Like if you know
Yeah,
someone who maybe can't spare the money, but needs the
yeah,
encouragement.
absolutely. So there's also on the website, because when I started this, it's a ministry first and foremost, and so for me, there's also a shop on the website. So if somebody just wants one thing, they don't have to necessarily subscribe every month. But we also have a lot of women who love to, they send gifts and then they'll also send them anonymously. There's a few women in the group who, aren't able to afford the boxes. And I get messages all the time. They're like, you know what, the lady that posted that, can you just send her this box and, I'll pay for it. And I mean, it's been amazing. And, there's some ladies in there who I've actually just sent, I tend to just send things also without, any cost or anything involved to them, just because, like I said, at the end of the day, I want to encourage these women, and if something small can just make a change in their life or just encourage them to keep going through whatever they're facing, it makes me happy.
Well, and my mom used to tell me, she would say, whenever I'd be complaining about something in my life, which of course in your like teens, you're complaining about everything because
Yeah.
everything's the end of the world, and
Mm-hmm.
and she would tell me, she would say the best way for you to forget about your problems is focus on someone else's.
Yeah.
And she said, do you think, she's like, you find somebody, she said, and if you can't find somebody, I'll find them for you because I get plenty of people you can talk to. And she said, the minute you start trying to bless someone else and encourage them, you will not only stop thinking about your own issues and you'll start to put them in more realistic perspective, but also you'll be blessed back by encouraging them to the point that you'll be more able to solve your own issue, or you'll just move past it because it wasn't a big issue,
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it makes a huge difference to do that. So, so many people I think would really like this. Now, I'm curious. So you have a different theme each month, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a process like as far as the themes go? Do you just do how God leads as far as like what theme to do for each month?
Yeah, so it's really funny. The first year that I was doing it, I had a few people who were like, "Are you going to run out of ideas?" I was like, "It is the weirdest thing." So during my prayer time, literally, I will be like, "Oh," and the Lord will just give me something, and I'll just start writing. Like, oh, "Okay, this, okay," and even just the items to go along with the themes. It's crazy how the Lord gives me these crazy ideas. So I have a whole list of ideas, and at the same time, I feel very led, usually each month, to kind of determine which one is the next one. And then also I take input, from the ladies in the group, because when I see that a lot of them struggling with the same thing, that also helps to, say, okay, this is an area where, we should really address this sooner rather than later, to kind of try to help and encourage them. But yeah, some of the themes and ideas I've had even planned, and then the Lord has just been like, nope, that is not happening. Here's a different idea. And then the last minute,
Thanks for your input. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, for me personally, especially, I think, the churches need need better women ministries. My thing was several years ago, but for even now, I see if people are struggling with addiction, it seems like they can get help. But women who are suffering from what more women suffer from anything, depression and anxiety and um, all kinds of different, of course, abuse. And, somebody said, well, but how do I know someone's getting, someone said to me not too long ago, well, I don't know that any woman in our church is being abused. And I said, look at the statistics. You have 2,000 people in your church, and like 1 out of 4 women has been abused or is being abused. So chances are you're sitting on the same pew with at least one. And so they're there. It's just that no one, they don't feel safe drawing that out because there's nowhere to put it. So why bring it out? That was for me especially. And well, and then for the abuse, the depression just was, it was a gift with purchase, like the depression came right along with that, and the shame and the guilt, and I mean, so many different things, so a lot of things piggyback on those, on other issues. If you're depressed,
Yeah.
or something, that you're probably having shame issues, or and there could be something that someone did to you that you just haven't been able to deal with because there's no outlet, there's no safe place for it. And I think the first place we should be able to run to after God is our church family, and I think that's the last place most people want to bring it, because it's, it's not a, I'm not getting saved, and I'm not battling addiction, and I'm not joining their weight loss group. So, what's left? There's no what, I don't know if any other women and they feel so alone. And Plum just wrote a whole new album called Beautifully Broken, and it is so amazing. She wrote a book too, by the way, and and it's, and one of her songs was about, I'm just called "I'm Not Alone," and it hit me. I was like, I wish more women knew how much they were not alone, because I think just knowing they're not alone, even if their circumstances don't even change, it's this peace of mind, just to know others are and they have to go to like online communities. I had to go to a secular organization in my community that helped abuse victims. Like, I had to go somewhere because I had 3 kids to help, to raise, and I needed to be mentally more stable than I was, and I couldn't deal with it all. I needed help, and sadly I couldn't go to my church. So but I was blessed because my counselor happened to be a Christian working at this, secular community organization. But I think this type of organization should be implemented in every church. It's free counseling for women and kids, and it's, I think so many families are silently suffering, their marriages, whole families being destroyed, and the devil will use that. He knows our weaknesses, and if you get attacked, it's because this is a huge need. I mean, because this is such a changing, something that needs to change big time. And I think women don't support women enough. Like, we almost see them as like competition, or like, I don't even know what she's like. I don't know. Should I hang with her? Should I not? I mean, guys, they just see another guy and say, "Hey, you want to play basketball?" I mean, they can just pick up a game with strangers, But for women, we've got to have a background check or something. Like, we just don't support each other on naturally like we should.
Well, and I think that's, it's funny within our community. It's been so interesting. And I've actually had a few people comment on how there are women in there that have made such a strong connection that if they were at the same church or walked down the street, across from each other, would never, ever, 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 like, probably talk to each other or think that they had anything in common. And it's amazing how much, to your point, we do have struggles in common and, joys in common too. And I think that with a lot of churches, unfortunately, from my personal experience, this isn't every church, but we get very focused on kind of the big women's events, or the generic kind of women's groups, to your point, that, every church kind of has to have within their ministry. But there's so much that a lot of women go through that just doesn't get addressed. And so I think that for churches, if they could do more smaller kind of one-on-one interactions within the women, encouraging things like that, would be amazing. I've participated in some where it's like, they've even just done kind of matchups of women who are going through similar challenges. And,
that's really,
no obligation
that's
other
great.
than like, have a coffee date or, whatever. And then you can take it from there if you want to continue to, talk or whatever. But it allows for some, one-on-one just support and interaction, and, hopefully addressing some of those personal challenges that, like you said, we might not feel as comfortable sharing. I've talked about depression with a few different pastors in my lifetime, and it's interesting. A few of them really told me, like, I'm actually not well versed in enough in this to fully help you, and they weren't really sure where to point me even for resources. And I appreciated their honesty. And at the same time, I was like, wow, okay.
Then you just discovered a need for your church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, we need to do something about this because, to your point, it's every year women report higher and higher levels of stress and anxiety and depression and, related to all different sorts of things. And so it is a really important thing for a lot of churches to kind of look at and start addressing within their ministry.
So do you have churches that actually get involved with this? Like that actually do boxes?
I don't have any formal relationships. However, I do have a few different churches that have ordered, 20 boxes or 50 boxes. And they've either done like almost like a Bible study, or they've used the box to kind of kick off because the topic was related to something they were going to be doing in a Bible study. They've used the box to kind of kick off the Bible study, which has been really nice. And then I have a few ministries who've actually purchased them for like all of the single mothers in their church that they wanted to bless, and encourage for Mother's Day as an example, or different things like that. So I have a whole bunch of ideas on ways to kind of grow it and utilize it. Because again, it really is more, it's like a care package, but it is almost like a mini devotional in a box.
It'd be nice for like even for them welcoming like new women into the church. They've never visited church before, and they get this box of stuff that's and say this is and just ask them if would you like a box of encouragement to take with you. And I think that would be like a great line, for somebody who just visited your church, and maybe they don't come back to your church, but maybe they come to God.
Absolutely.
Whether they come back or not. But I think that would be, we donate so much money to overseas, and I think that's great, but we can't forget about our local church first. If our local church, it's kind of like your own home. I don't think somebody should be, like a family counselor if their own family is in disrepair. I think you need to fix your own home, and at least get it on a mostly consistent, stable basis before you branch out like that. So I think this would be money well spent for churches, and the more they can order, the more money you can save, and you can give them a discount on ordering, in boxes. And so I'm curious, do you already know what's next? Do you have ideas on what you plan to do from here? Are you going to write a book? Because that's an idea.
It's so funny. I have actually, I think there's a book in me, but I'm not sure when it's going to come out. I'll wait on the Lord on that one because a few people, because I write, most of the copy for the actual boxes, and then, I do our monthly blog, and we've got a workbook that goes along with each of the boxes. And so a few people have said, like, you really need to take this and, put together a devotional. So I think that might be something I'll do at some point. I think my next step is actually, and again, I'm waiting to see what the Lord does on this one and timing. But I think my next step actually is really wanting to host kind of an in-person gathering. And not a conference, that's not a bad word, but there's just so many Christian women's conferences out there. So I think there's plenty for women to choose from, but I would love to have, just because there's been so much connection in our online community, I would love to be able to bring these women together in person, and to, kind of do some great ideas on exercises and things that we can do to kind of connect even more. And then also equip ourselves to go out and encourage more people, regardless of, being a subscriber to the box or not, but just helping women to become encouragers so that they can encourage those other ladies in their church, or, just in their life in general, that they know, need some encouragement. So that's kind of my next biggest thing is that, I really want to have some sort of offline, in-person gathering, for our community.
That would be incredible. You can, if you have a potluck, you have a really good chance of a lot of them showing up.
I know, right?
I grew up in a little Baptist church, and like you do a potluck, and they'll show up for any issue. Like they're like it's a women's thing, but guys, oh, it's a women's thing. Didn't know that. I'm just gonna grab a plate and go.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
I like to eat, so that'll definitely be good food.
I think everybody can be enticed with food. You could even have, everybody bring, something, say, bring a little package of cookies or a package of sandwiches or whatever, and then, let women make their own gift box of food at the gathering, and that would be cool. Yeah, there's so many places you can go with this, and I think you're just on the precipice of, so many other things venturing out from this. And I think a lot of women that you help are probably going to come back to you with ways that you can expand it because they see a way, like they see a way to take it to their community or to their church, and they find something that works for them that might end up being, on a bigger scale, easier for you to do. I think I have a tendency to, like, over minister, and that's like that's not a bragging thing. That's actually like a fault of mine. Like, because I say, oh man, I would love to do that, so I should help them. But sometimes, I heard Joyce Meyer say sometimes that, you can come up next to people who have, like, a same gift as you, but that doesn't mean you need to, like, birth something right then, Sometimes because she was talking about her different ministries, like that she said she felt like it was literally like she was pregnant with the idea for years before God let her give birth to it. And she said, and then she thought about it. Had it been, done prematurely, it would have had so many problems because she wasn't ready. And we think we are. We think we can do all these things, and then we don't realize, nope, we can't. Like it, we could probably do it, but we probably couldn't sustain it because if He doesn't, He guides where He provides where He guides, but we can't just leap out and do something and say, okay, now God bless it,
Exactly.
But that's my problem is I want to do several different things, and I think that would me doing a box, that would probably be one way to maybe hone in some of my things in one place, but I'd probably still find a way to birth something out of that too. But I think that's a good thing. I mean, too many ideas is better than not enough. So I think you're being very wise to, like, listen to God's calling because His timing is flawless, and we always think that we know better, but when we when we do it, He knows the nanosecond that it has to happen, that because it's perfect. And I just think you're doing an amazing thing. Is there a website for people that can go to it and learn more about it and purchase boxes and get involved?
Yeah. So they can check out lovedandblessed.com.
That's I'm glad you already, that no one had that website. That's awesome.
I know. That was part of, I was like, okay, Lord, I guess this really is you. Because I was like, that's got to be taken.
Yeah, you would think. Well, that already shows a lack of, ministry right there. And then and on social media, they can follow you at Loved Blessed Box, correct?
Yes.
On Facebook, right. Instagram, and every place else. So, yeah, get involved and get yourself a box. And if you decide that you need it for others, I mean, I honestly would like to. Can they anonymously, like, buy one box and see what happens, or can they? I was going to say, can you buy one box if you're trying it out, or if you're wanting to? Okay. I was curious about that.
So if you go on the shop on the website, there's also a little link at the top that says shop. So if you go in there, you can actually select what theme. It's anything that we have available. So we've done over 50 boxes, so not every box that we've done is still available. But most of our most popular ones are there. So you can just purchase one box, and then at checkout, there's a little comment box. So if you just put anonymous, no gift message, we won't put any information in there. A lot of ladies use those for, like, Secret Sister groups
Yeah.
that they're in at church and stuff. Yeah.
That's a really great idea for like when at Christmas and at like
Yeah.
women's like get-togethers at church where they're
Yeah.
where you got to bring a gift. That would be
Mhm.
amazing. Well, I'm so thankful to talk to you because I just thought what an incredible and what a needed ministry you have started, and I myself am getting involved because I never know when I need it, and I
Yeah.
think because I just took care of business for so long, and and then once I would crack open an issue, like it was like Old Faithful, just like just
Yeah.
cry for days, to finally release that. And you just sometimes it's always like trying to when someone near you is going through something and you're trying not to show that you're going through anything because you're afraid they're going to get
Yeah.
though you're afraid they're not if they don't see you strong that they might not be or
Yeah.
so it's we got to be able to be and Plum, when she wrote this book, she said we got to start getting real with ourselves, but also with our sisters in Christ. And
Yeah.
sometimes that means to let us know when something is happening in our life that we don't want to hear. That
Yep.
we need to be spirit led when we do it because other
Yeah.
than that, it's completely selfish. But
Selfish. Yep.
we need to be spirit led to say, I don't you don't seem okay, and
Yeah.
maybe you are, but if you're not in any way, I'm just here. And just say, hey, by the way, here's a pink box.
Yeah.
and and enjoy. You might need it, might
Yeah.
not. And I think you'll never run out of topics because all you got to do
Yeah.
is go scroll through Facebook and you'll find a whole bunch of other issues. You just look at
I
people,
know.
you look at people's posts, you'll find a million other issues that are out there that
I
shouldn't
know.
be, but they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe there'll be less and less. Hopefully,
Yeah,
but
that's the
yeah, you're
goal.
right.
Exactly. That's the goal. Well, thank you so much. It's such an honor to talk to you, and I'll be
No,
talking to
thank
you
you.
more because I would love to stay involved with you and with your
Awesome.
ministry and help in any way that I can. I think it's amazing.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, you have a blessed and wonderful day.